So I just know Tuesdays is my day for door-to-door because of that discipline that had been ingrained in me.
And at this time, you're more confident, you're less scared.
Yes. So people would ask me, have you ever considered being a pastor? I'm like, never. Don't even wish that for me. And you know why?
The conversation continues. It's been a journey from Eldoret to Kapsabet to Naivasha, Nakuru also, now in Nairobi.
Capital city.
We are at the University of Nairobi where you are, you're being around. You're studying, you're doing a BA.
Yeah.
What were you majoring in? Sociology
and linguistics. Not that I know what they were. So I was coming in hoping to do economics and sociology. But by the time I got to the economics line, class 4.
Wow.
So I didn't even know what linguistics was. I just went there.
Isn't that insane? Your career path, your life journey has been...
It flipped.
But it's being chosen on the basis of...
Yes.
Availability.
Yes. That's how it was. So I had no idea what linguistics was even. So I was waiting to drop it. So I think of my second year I dropped it. But I really also believe or I work with different principles. And one principle is God doesn't make a mistake.
But at this time, are you thinking that?
Yes. Now I'm a believer. Yeah. Actually, before high school, before I came to campus, once I was done with NYS, I joined Word of Life Bible School. Somehow, by this time, I don't know why, my dad was usually, I think it was my dad, he didn't like us idling around. So he'll tell you, instead of hanging around for 2-3 months, what can you do? So a friend of mine told me Word of Life had started like a short-term Bible school for about 4 months. So I checked, before I come into campus, I have some time. So I came into the Bible school, and that was great for me.
Okay.
I didn't know how God was. This is also a building block towards something. So for 4 months we were there just reading, being taught in-depth scriptures. I think we went through the book of Nehemiah or something, but we still have fun. There were some buildings coming up. There were times to do some mjengo work, building work. There was time for Bible training. Then that's the first time in my life I ever got to share about Jesus.
Wow.
To go out on evangelism or to tell somebody. I didn't know how to do it, but it was part of the training. They brought us to Uhuru Park. And then the guy with us would sit at the top, so he can see all of you. So you can't pretend. Can you imagine the embarrassment of coming to guys who are, some of them are dating. They brought their cadets there. Sorry, can I interrupt you guys?
Jesus loves you.
5 minutes, just I want to share something. Very awkward. Initially, 2 would go 2 by 2. Then, as we were getting to the end of it, everybody on their own. Always at Uhuru Park. Oh. And you're hoping nobody from your high school will see you. But it was important that we learned that, because I didn't know how to share my faith.
Yeah.
And left to myself, it's something I would never have done.
And did you see any tangible fruits? Not to say that there are no fruits, no seeds planted in terms of you sharing people and them later on.
No, we see those are not people we met again. And I think what it was more for us is, you be faithful to share, let God continue, and the results are up to Him.
Yeah.
So we never got that, but it was also more for us to train us how to do it and not to... Left to myself, it's something I'd always run away from. So fast forward now, I come to uni. And I come...
What year did you start uni? 89?
99, I believe.
19? No.
Sorry, 89. 89.
89?
Yes.
Okay.
So I come to uni, miss out on... Because it was again first come, first served. Economics class is full right there. And then I always tell some of the younger people who are joining college, it's very important who you meet at that registration line. Somehow, in that time, because you're coming in, you don't know people, and you don't know where the hostels are, so you start chatting. They're the people you are safe with. They're the people you hang out with. So I always tell even some of our older kids, please pray that God put the right people in that line that day. Because somehow, those are the friends I formed. And thank God they are good people.
Wow.
So by the time you are signing in, yes, you're signing in, you're taking your bags, you don't know Nairobi. So you are crisscrossing from the main campus to the halls of residence with the same people. So you find rooms. Then now you say, okay, let's go look for the cafeteria. So you go, by the time you've done 2-3 days with them, they become your peeps. Wow. So I come round, and then the second or third day, as I'm with these same friends, I meet a friend, Faith Obunde now, on the corridors. And we had been with her at the Word of Life Bible School.
Yes.
So I said, oh, Faith, I'm so excited to see a familiar face. And I said, where are you going? She says, I'm going for a Bible study. There's somebody who's starting a Bible study. Do you want to come? Hey, I said, let's go. Another amazing space where God just checked in. So we go to this Bible study. It was led by, and this is a big shout out to Shiko Kimani and Paul Kimani of the Navigators.
What?
So Shiko was starting a Bible study group. And for real, me, I always say, I made it through campus, not because of the fear of God. For me, at the beginning, it was fear of Shiko. And I'll explain. So I go to this Bible study, and I think we were 5 or 6 girls. Until today, we are life, they are yours. You know, the immediate second row friendships. Because we did Bible study every Monday for 3 years.
What?
And Shiko would come and ask us, so how was the weekend? Is there anything you did that you want us to know? Because, you know, the clubbing, everything used to happen on the weekend.
And are you getting boom at this time?
How did I forget that? We were getting money. I think it was like 6K. The highest note in Kenya was 200 bob.
200?
I remember my first boom. And were given cash.
Explain to somebody who's watching who doesn't know what boom is.
Boom is a stipend that you were given by the government when you were in college. We went through college with government sponsorship, and you paid later, but of course that time the government just gave you. Then once you started working, you're supposed to repay it. So if you've never paid back your uni loan, please do.
So there's but what I'm hearing you say, there's a difference between HELB, which is what you're talking about, the government loan. So
that time there was both. So there was the tuition was free.
Tuition.
Yes.
Yes.
But you also got your pocket money.
Boom. Which
that
you
is
didn't
what
have to pay
boom.
that back.
Yeah. No, it's part of what you paid back.
Oh, it is, huh?
Yes, but in the earlier days, many people didn't pay back. The government didn't have the system to track people.
I get it.
But by the time us guys now, we even now, any employer, in fact, now it's an employer who's supposed to disclose that there are people here who have held, because that's the only way government came around it.
Yes.
So that, I guess that's why it was called boom, because it's just this money lands on you, boom. So imagine 6,000 shillings in 200 denominator notes.
You're balling.
Walking from that bank. When I walked from the bank with my cash, you're given cash. We didn't have MPESA and all these electronic things. I remember I got to my room, and it was a shared room. I locked the door properly, removed the key. I went to my bed. I arranged every note on it. Then this is my money, all for me. Remember that time we were getting meals from college.
Yes, and good meals. Very good meals.
In fact, I was very lucky because from my second semester, first year, I got into a very nice exclusive hostel called Stella Owinja. In those days, it was single rooms. It was only supposed to be for engineering students and architecture students.
Allah?
When we got to college, I guess that thing, NYS, where you are like, the worst they'll say is no. We went and applied. 5 of us who are BA students got in. We didn't know anybody. We didn't do anything punky. We just applied. We got in. There was almost a riot. What a first year BA students doing in Stella Owinja.
What?
So as guys, my friend and I got it's like a studio, but a big one.
Yep.
We had our own kitchen. We had our own bathroom, toilet, and it had a bathtub.
What?
2 people. Now, yes, they sit, there are 16 or 8 of them in that room. I don't understand. Then others had single rooms, but us guys wanted to share. And it was big. So, so I meet Faith, we go to this Bible study. And we're now, this is just before boom. We're still, it's the second, third day.
Yes.
Going to this Bible study, meet Shiko. And Shiko walked with us the whole 3 years.
Wow.
If there's any reason I still stood as a Christian. In university, it's not easy.
And she wasn't a student?
No, Shiko worked with the Navigators even till now.
Okay, explain to people what the Navigators is.
The Navigators is a Christian organization. It's a global Christian organization. And they do a lot of reaching out in colleges, marketplace. And it's just really helping people who are new in the faith to grow.
Yeah.
So just walking with you through understanding more who you are, accountability. And I'm big on accountability because if it was not Shiko's questions, we used to know the first question is, how was your weekend? And in Stella Wenja, every Friday without fail, the Mercedes Benzes, the BMs would be checking in, and the girls dolled up, going out. You are standing would stand in the balconies looking at them, thinking, Monday is coming. Shiko will ask you. And she said, how was the weekend? Is there something you did that you want us to know? And we talked and say, have you lied?
Wow.
Is there anything, have you lied and held back anything? So we knew if I go out clubbing, if I go out with some of these guys who are, and your friends would tell, come. Monday is coming. So nobody forced us. It was not a compulsory thing to go on Monday.
Yes.
But somehow we knew there's something good here. And we looked foolish. We looked like, I mean, how are you in campus? And you can't go out and what is this Bible study thing? But eventually we thought, but you know, being a Christian doesn't mean you don't have fun. So even as guys, well, let's come up with fun. So we'd meet up on Thursdays and decide, how is this weekend panning out? So we'd come up with things, clean fun. And then we realized very early, it's always safer to be with somebody else. Never go somewhere alone. It's always safer to come as a group. So even when we'd have exams, and you know that time it's theater style, hundreds of people sitting, and guys are copying, exams are, and you can see, I don't know these questions. People are copying, and you're sitting there, you're a Christian, we realize here we'll fall. So very quickly we decided, for every exam, you never walk in alone. We find 2, 3 of us, and we sit together. Say, even if I'm getting a D, at least I'm getting a D that has integrity.
Wow. So
guys are copying around you, but you've decided you are watching over each other. Don't even, some people would even tell you, bring I write for you. And you sit there and you just, so for me, accountability is big. Because many times it's not because I was strong alone. It's because there were those we decided, a code of 3 strands will not be broken. So in my transcript, there are some to C's and even maybe a D's, but I always look at that transcript and it was mine. I didn't fake it, I didn't cheat. This was, if I have an A, that was mine. Campus was fun. By the way, campus is you don't pay bills, you're eating. And in our days, we had good food. Stella Winja, if the whole campus, bread was not delivered on time, because we were few. It was like an we could eat in any hall, but nobody could eat in Stella unless you lived in Stella.
What?
It's opposite the YWCA. It was posh. So we'd come there. We even had ice cream for dessert. The whole campus. Jelly. We had something people used to call, I forget, it was a Scotch egg. I forget what people used to call it, where it's a boiled egg and then with sausage on top and deep fried. People used to call it sausage balls or something, but it was a Scotch egg. Would have those things. If the whole campus, bread was delayed, Stella Winja would wake up, somebody made cakes or biscuits.
What?
Stella, I had fun in campus. Then the chef got to know, because I'd somehow, I don't know how, I was not, my goal in life was never to be a pastor. Eh? In fact, by second year, I was so involved in Christian things. Because of my Word of Life training, I even had my own personal days of going door to door to share about Jesus.
In
by
campus?
Myself, yes. So I just know Tuesdays is my day for door to door because of that discipline that had been ingrained in me.
And at this time, you're more confident, you're less scared.
Yes. So people would ask me, have you ever considered being a pastor? I'm like, never. Don't even wish that for me. And you know why? I grew up, I didn't know this, but I grew up thinking pastors are academically challenged people who didn't make it in school, and all they could tell you is, God called me. How do you argue with that? And one day I stopped and asked myself, where did I get that? Then I remembered my grandparents' days. Remember, they were into church a lot. So the pastors would come to visit, home visits. Many times would be there and they would say, oh, they'd come, let's say at 10. You make tea and bread. We make lunch. They're outside chatting, catching up. I guess it was visitations. Then if you make chicken, hey, they don't, and they would just look at the whole chicken going. We didn't like pastors. Like these guys, they just, what is that? How is that a job? You just go around visitation, eating, and and then at around 2 o'clock, oh, now they have gone to view, they're visiting who? I think that's what I grew up, the image I had of pastors. And so when people tell me, hey, you look like you can be a good pastor. There you go, sharing about Jesus. You are always in youth groups in church leading. I tell them, never. That's the worst thing that could ever happen to me. I want to be a lawyer. That's my goal after this degree. Eh? But we had fun in campus. There were many youth groups in campus. The Navigators had the Bible study. Nairobi Chapel then, around about then is when our current Bishop Oscar Mureu, he was very young then in his 20s, was sent to revive Nairobi Chapel. But he came with such energy. And he'd come round to the rooms and get to know people. And we had been told about cults. So we'd look at him and think, this one is a cult.
The real deal.
Yes. How can you be so friendly? Then on Fridays, usually in the evening or Saturday, he'd put out posters. There's going to be a barbecue at Nairobi Chapel for students. You're a campus student, even with boom. Free food. I'm there. We check in. We eat. Sunday, we bounce. We don't go to that church. We go. And we used to church hop a lot.
Okay. Now you've entered a very historical moment. Yeah. And I'm aware that I know the history, but it's important for people to understand some of this history. So, just because, first of all, from a church landscape, from a youth group perspective, I'm hearing about the Navigators, and not even youth group, organizations almost that are youth-centric. Yes. Navigators, and I'm hearing about Word of Life. Yes. These are not churches. No. These are organizations that are about preaching the gospel, looking after youth.
Yes, across the globe, actually.
Across the globe. They have just headquarters now in Kenya. Now, from church perspective, which churches are there at this time that were even attending a church in Nakuru when you go back home? Like, explain to me the church landscape. Yeah.
So when I was in Nakuru, I was attending Nakuru Christian Center.